right now, infinite versions of your life exist. One where you're rich and one where you're actually stuck. One where you've already made it. But the only question is, which one are you observing? Because until you understand what I'm going to teach you today, your manifestation techniques will always be hit or miss. Today, we're going to learn how to collapse the wave, how to manifest by choosing your reality. A lot of people are kind of stuck in this realm of trying to figure out how to manifest by just thinking on things, focusing on information and focusing on what they want to bring into their life and focusing on cars and houses and relationships. And they think that's enough. I thought about it. It should just arrive in my life. Well, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't quite work that way. Some people take a lot of action behind ambiguous thought. So they really don't know exactly what they want. They kind of want a relationship. They kind of want a nice house. They kind of want abundance in their life. They kind of want to start a new business. They kind of want to go on vacation, but they still don't even know where they're going, what kind of car it is, what specific house it is. They don't have specificity in their thoughts. But then they start into all these actions. The actions don't manifest exactly what they want because they had ambiguous thoughts. So you're trying to get to this outcome, this manifestation outcome of exactly and precisely what you want. To do that, you have to learn how to collapse the wave function into your reality. And there are specific techniques to do that. We'll go over some of them tonight. Okay. Now, what is a wave function? That's a great question. A wave function is something that exists within the quantum field. Now we're getting into quantum physics and quantum mechanics, real science. You see, the spiritual world or the energetic world or the frequency world, whatever you want to call it, it's not woo-woo. It actually has a fundamental premise behind it that runs that system of energy and frequency and vibration. And that's called quantum. We are all part of this quantum field, this quantum reality. As theoretical physicists, quantum physicists are now beginning to completely understand. It brings into question exactly who we are and what we're part of. Now, when you study this science, we are beginning to realize that we are a part of everything and everything is a part of us. There was a scientific experiment done and has been replicated now thousands of times around the entire planet in laboratories all over the world. Without a doubt, this is one of the most telling experiments as to the reality that we are living in right now. It's called the double slit experiment. And in this experiment, scientists did something very interesting. They took a tiny little box, and in that box, they put a very small partition, and then in the back, of course, is the wall. And they took a tiny little pea shooter that would shoot individual electrons or individual photons, they've done both, through slits in the partition, as you can see here in this diagram. When they shot these individual particles towards the partition that had slits in it, they expected to see a digital pattern on the back wall, ... impact points. But when they looked inside the box after the experiment ended, they saw a pattern of waves, which you can see to the left in this diagram. They said, wait a minute, we shot individual photons and individual electrons, and on the back wall, we did not see a digital pattern, we saw a wave pattern. That shouldn't be. That means that the particle never existed as a particular outcome. It only existed as waves of potential and was transmitted via light frequency. If you see the diagram to the left, you see that there's waves coming out of this particle emitter. Now, on the right side, you see the experiment. What they did was they put a little detector or a looking device inside the box. similar to how we would look at something with a camera. They said, let's try to understand exactly what's going on here by taking a peek inside during the experiment. What they found was that the little tiny shooter of these individual photons and electrons was sending them out. When they got to the partition, they became digital bits of information, and they hit the back wall as ... instead of a wave. So they said, wait a minute. Now we're looking, and it's actually showing up as particles. When we're not looking, it's showing up as waves. So they took out the looking device, did the experiment again, they got waves. They put the looking device back in, look at the experiment again, they got particles. They said, wait a minute. The act of observing the outcome converted it and collapsed the wave function into solidity. In other words, the act of looking inside the box during the process allowed the particles to remain particles and not convert themselves into waves of potential. When they came out of the little tiny shooter, they instantly became waves and then collapsed into particles because we were looking. Conscious intervention collapses waves into reality. When you're not looking, everything exists as waves of potential. We call it in science superposition. Multiple outcomes all existing simultaneously all at once. This is one of the most profound and telling experiments in the history of this era of mankind. We have rediscovered what the ancients already knew, that we're living in a fractal holographic matrix of light that operates and runs and is attached directly within the quantum field, and every particular or potential outcome exists all at once. The ancient Sumerians talked about this. They called it the ability to create your own destiny, or they call themselves specifically the ordainers of destiny. They knew that multiple outcomes existed according to the ancient tablets, and they would then isolate through conscious thought the specific outcome that they wanted, and then they would hyper-focus on that. Now in modern science, we call it the hemisync. And then once they hyper-focused on it, they would put the action steps to create and manifest that reality on their timeline. You see? This is the power that we have as human beings on this planet. We have the capability to collapse future potential outcomes into reality. And we're doing it all the time, but we take it for granted. We don't even realize that we're doing this. We are doing this consistently 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. How do we do this? Well, we're doing this because we make conscious decisions all day, and then we act on those decisions, and the action and the conscious thought turn into a manifestation. For example, you're watching me right now on this device. Well, you made a conscious thought to pick up your device and get on YouTube or whatever platform you're watching me on. Once you did that, what's the next thing you did? You put action into it. You had to pick up the actual device or get the remote control to the TV or whatever device you're utilizing. And then you had to actually type in some information or scroll that took some energy that you had to exchange before I popped up on your screen. And now you've manifested listening to my voice at this exact moment in time. You collapsed the wave function, and you didn't even realize you were doing it. This also has broader implications. If you can realize that wherever you are right now, anything that you can't see outside of that room or outside of the area or space that you're in, even if you're outside, anything you can't see from distance, it doesn't exist as solid matter. It exists as waves. It's called wave-particle duality in quantum physics. This is real. Until a conscious observer interacts with waves of potential They don't collapse and coalesce into the illusion of solidity. We're operating just like the video games that we've created out of our own consciousness. In a video game, you see characters, you see scenes, and you can move and run. And if you run in one direction, we know the screen ends there. The screen doesn't go on to infinity. But the game, they can run in one direction to infinity. Why? Because even the video game operates on the concept of wave-particle duality. The next scene appears as the characters within the game needs it to appear. The next room appears. The next, whatever it is in the game, it appears as it's needed and works the same exact way in this realm in the third dimension. No difference. This is real. If you can wrap your mind around this, you will begin to see how powerful we really are, how powerful our thoughts are, because our thoughts create things. Our thoughts create realities. And this is an important part of manifestation, because now once you have the conscious thought and it's clear and you can understand how to manifest a conscious thought that's precise, then you can put action behind that thought and you can get a clear manifestation. In other words, if you're focusing on something that you want to manifest and you're being very ambiguous, I want to manifest a new car. Okay, well, you sent that information out of your skull now into the universe. It's very ambiguous. There are literally thousands of cars that exist. Some of them not even close to your price range, and some of them too far under your price range. You would never drive a car like that. So, you want a car? Well, what car? You see? Before you start putting action in, you have to have clear conscious thought. This is the formula that I came up with to manifest. It's CT multiplied by A equals M. The conscious thought multiplied by action equals the manifestation. But the conscious thought must be clear and precise. So if you want to manifest a car, you've now thought of the specific car that you want. You've actually gone and test driven this car. Even if you don't have the money to put down and buy it that day, you go and you test drive your cars until you find the exact one that you say, this is it. It's within my budget range. It's within my payment range. I don't have the down payment now, but I'm going to manifest that down payment. I love the color, the make, the model, the wheels, you know. I love the exhaust, the interior, the sound system. I know how many liters the engine is and all this. You know all of it. You understand how much the maintenance is going to cost you ongoing and everything else. You've already completely isolated and got down to a key focus point. Now you say to yourself, okay, I've got the car. Not, I hope I get this car. I want this car. I wish I can buy this car. No, I own this car. This is my car now. In your consciousness. You see, whatever you continue to program your subconscious and your conscious to believe, the mind will now believe that it actually exists. That's how powerful you are. You can convince yourself in the multidimensional platform that you already have this. And when you do that, guess what? You do. Because that realm is more real than this third dimension. Now, the second key is to put action steps in. You have to collapse the wave function also within action and energy exchange. So with this energy exchange, you're going to begin to put together a plan on how you're going to manifest this vehicle. And because you're hyper-focused on the car as if you already own it, the universe is going to start sending you connections, sending you information, sending you opportunities that you have to now discern as such and act on. And once you do that on a consistent basis and do it the right way, which I cover in my private group, you will then be able to get the manifestation that you're looking for. See? We're talking about collapsing waves into particles. Everything that you see around you is a conscious thought. If you look around your surroundings and you see anything that's not nature, all right, it's not grass and trees and rocks. If you can look around you, if you can even look at your clothes, it's all quote unquote man-made. That's a whole nother podcast to get into because man doesn't really make anything. We stack atoms. However, for technical purposes today and understanding, man-made. What you're looking at is you're looking at conscious thoughts, which started off as waves that left the skull, went out into space-time. But the person was able to capture some of those waves and collapse them down into a two-dimensional writing, a drawing, computer-assisted design program to help them isolate specifically exactly what they want to manifest into reality. Let's say it was this cell phone, thinking about this cell phone in the conscious platform. How does it look, feel? What's the size and dimensions? What are the functions and features on it? This is multidimensional. These are waves. It doesn't exist as solid objects yet. You collapse it into 2D by encoding it into a drawing or a computer system to have a look at how you're going to make it and create a diagram and a blueprint. That information is then transmitted to an engineer that then takes that data, that encoded two-dimensional data, and converts it into a three-dimensional object that can move on an XYZ axis. You're looking at this object and you're saying, oh, that's a cell phone. No, it's not a cell phone. It's not a cell phone. So you have to start looking at the world differently. This is someone's conscious thought. Mr. Samsung had this in his brain, in his consciousness platform, and it manifested into solid reality. So I'm holding Mr. Samsung's thoughts. Anything that you could see around you, this microphone for me, this cell phone, the mouse, this glass. When I hold this glass, I'm holding someone's conscious thought. You see? Thoughts become things. Thoughts become things. So everything that you see in the world, stop looking at it as something that's manufactured and start looking at them as conscious thoughts that manifested into the third dimension. If you start thinking that way, oh man, you are going to start to see the world totally differently. Everything's going to change for you. Everything is going to change. We are collapsing waves into reality on a very consistent basis. Every single day, day and night, whether you realize it or not. Now, the question is, how can you control the waves that you're collapsing? You have to understand that your mind is sending out waves of light into the quantum field. They're sending out waves of light into the quantum field on a consistent basis. Every single thought, you think it just stays inside this skull? No, it's going out. It's going out. How do we know this? Because I can put an EEG cap on your head in a laboratory. I can capture those waves of light leaving your skull. I can connect it to a computer, and I can even play back now with the new systems we have. I can even play back your conscious thoughts as a video now. They can see literally what's on your mind. Yeah, like the movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise. That's a reality. They've done this in laboratories now. They have a special type of an MRI that can scan your thoughts and replay it on the screen as a video. Full color. So how did they get the data? Did they screw a piece of technology into your skull and scan your brain on the inside? No, they're capturing waves. Energy waves leaving your skull. They leave your skull as waves and they're encoded with data. The data can be decoded. And when they decode the data can then be played back on a screen or a computer screen. We can see your waves, your gamma, theta, beta, and all that, depending on what the experiment is. So you are transmitting into the universe all day long, 24/7, even when you're dreaming. All those waves are going out into this quantum field forever, for all eternity. So, since you're transmitting to the universe, why not learn how to master transmitting specific information into the universe? Let me show you real quick with this video how powerful your thoughts are and how they can actually make a huge change in even moving things within our own third dimension. Check this out.
Emotive is kind of this wild technology. It's a way for you to control things with your mind. It has all sorts of new use cases, and I'm here at their offices today to get into it a little bit more.
This goes behind your ears.
Uh-huh.
And so you want your hair to be out of the way.
Okay.
And so we just put this on like
On
that.
the brain crown. Okay.
And then
Yep.
this goes behind the ear. So we'll just slide this down.
Okay. So this is my brain right now.
This is your brain right now.
Oh my gosh.
In real time.
This is wild.
It's pretty wild. And what you're seeing is the localized activity right now and the concentration of activity. So if there's a particular area that there's a huge amount of synchronization and activity, then you'll see it light up. So right now we're seeing a lot of activity there in the frontal and then parietal occipital. So parietal occipital.
Because I'm watching this.
Yeah. So we can look at facial expressions. So we can tell if you're blinking, you're winking, looking left and right, furrowing your eyebrows, raising them in surprise, smiling, clenching your teeth because you might be nervous. So all of those things we can detect very, very easily.
Emotive has been prototyping its wireless EGG technology for the past few years. Proven in the research sector, they are now developing a consumer product for market.
So this is a really simple use case scenario where the idea is I can just will this car to drive forward just with my thoughts. The way that the detections work is that you show the machine learning algorithms how you think about driving the car forward.
So, as I was telling you, your thoughts have power. If you didn't believe me, maybe you believe me now. You see, this is being integrated into machines now. The quantum field is well known. Our ability to transmit thoughts, isolated, focused thoughts that can complete a mission, are now being integrated into technologies. So why not just technologies? Why not your own life? That's what it's all about, and that's what I want to teach you. I want to show you a lot more and teach you a lot more about this topic. And, you know, this is the kind of work that we're doing every single week inside of my private community on School. I coach people through shifting timelines, collapsing waves, rewiring subconscious thoughts, and living as the version of yourself that the universe has to respond to. And so if you're serious about creating results and not just talking about them, if you want to, go inside to my community and learn all about these techniques and go in depth into, I'm talking about 30, 40 hours of incredible knowledge, wisdom, and training. Check the details in the description and find out more about what I'm teaching in my school. I want to get to work with you. I want to teach. I want to help. I want to mentor you. So click the link in the caption of this audio or video, wherever it is, and join me in the school group, because I guarantee you it will change your life.